Flash being the engine behind so much of the innovative content on the web, we are excited to extend our 10+ years of support for Flash on Intel desktop platforms by collaborating with Adobe to bring Flash and Air to new areas. Intel's Atom platforms provide Flash and Air publishers and developers the unique opportunity to leverage a common platform in the Intel AppUp marketplace to deliver this vision across an expanded.
Bueno, bienvenidos a todos. Esta es lo que sería la segunda edición de Device Days aquí en Barcelona. Este año yo creo que nos hemos superado, hemos conseguido un sitio más grande para más gente. Hemos traído, yo creo que ponentes son mejores que el año pasado. Este año nos vuelve a visitar Mar Doherty, Enrique Dubos, también tendremos a Xavi Humala, probablemente, esperemos que sí. Richard Galván, que es el Product Manager de Flash. Y yo creo que bueno, es...
Aaron Filner.
Aaron Filner al final también.
El Product Manager de Air.
Pues mira, Aaron Filner confirmado, cosa que yo no lo sabía, así que encantado de la vida. Estábamos ahí...
Sorpresa.
Sí, estamos allí, que si iba a venir, que si no iba a venir, pues al final podía venir, así que perfecto. Y... Se aparece, esta gente de Adobe, ya sabéis cómo son. Y bueno, y por otro lado, pues nada, daros la bienvenida a todos, que esperemos que paséis un buenísimo rato. Van a haber tres coffee breaks, uno por la mañana, luego habrá otro para comer y luego habrá un café por la tarde. Así que bueno, espero que podamos charlar todos ahí un ratillo, ¿no? Y nada, conocernos.
Vamos a repasar, aunque supongo que todos los que venís ya lo tenéis claro, un poco la agenda que tenemos para hoy. Y nada, vamos a... Esto era la introducción. 5 minutos.
5 minutos, que ya va a ser un poco más larga, pero va a ser que no.
Marc nos va a comentar, para empezar, sobre las novedades de todo lo que se ha ido anunciando en el Mobile World Congress, que tiene Adobe en marcha, sobre todas estas cosas.
Open Screen Project, creo que también hablará un poco.
Eso será después del Coffee Break. Hablaremos sobre el Open Screen Project y veremos algunas aplicaciones que han ganado fondos a partir de esta iniciativa de Adobe. Después Enrique Dubos, Xavi Bermuala, Aaron, puede ser, nos van a comentar sobre aplicaciones contextuales, buenas prácticas, optimización, un poco también con ejemplos para un poco de ver qué está haciendo la gente, qué se puede hacer, un poco inspiracional. Luego tendremos la hora para comer y a partir de ahí pues nosotros, Raúl y yo, haremos una demo con las nuevas herramientas que están por venir. Será con Device Central pues para ver algunos de los paneles nuevos que en relación con las nuevas características del Player 10.1. Y después ya Richard Galván nos dará una charla sobre cómo una de las grandes novedades que es la posibilidad de crear aplicaciones para el iPhone desde el IDE del nuevo Flash.
También hablará, os enseñará unas cosas nuevas en Flash CS5, ¿vale? Que todavía no está disponible, pero me he dicho que os enseñará algo más aparte de
Ajá, mejor, sí, saldremos de aquí con más cotillas. Y
no podéis grabar.
finalmente, Mar Doherty nos volverá a comentar un poco. Siempre que hablamos de qué tópicos podemos tratar en el evento, hay un poco de comentarios sobre qué nosotros como grupo de usuarios detectamos que la comunidad demanda, y está claro que todo en el entorno móvil, una de las cosas que todos los desarrolladores siempre tenemos en mente es cómo sacar dinero o qué mecanismos podemos tener para que no solo hagamos aplicaciones chulas con las herramientas que tenemos de Adobe, sino que eso se convierta en una oportunidad de negocio. Entonces, un poco en relación con esto, la última charla será métodos de integrar el desarrollo para iPhone con publicidad, en vistas de a lo mejor pues de ahí sacar una oportunidad de negocio.
Si no me equivoco es con Grey Stripes,
Sí,
¿no?
para la gente de Grey Stripes.
Eso es. Y esa es la agenda, con lo cual, como ya vamos un poco tarde porque ha habido ahí abajo unos problemas de ir ayuda en los registros y encima también aquí hubo que preparar todo lo que va a ser la primera charla, pues damos ya por comenzado el evento. Lo dicho por Raúl, esperamos que os parezca que ha cumplido las expectativas, que lo paséis bien, que podamos charlar en los ratos libres un montón como todas las veces que hacemos estos eventos, y también la oportunidad pues, de tener cerca de nosotros a gente directamente de Adobe para traerles todas nuestras dudas, nuestras peleas y nuestros bugs. Pues nada más, empezamos ya.
Antes de nada, bueno, primero agradeceros haber venido. Soy Enrique Dubos, Mark Doherty. Tú has hecho llamados, yo también, ¿no? Sí. ¿Cuántos habéis estado? ¿Me oyes, Matías? ¿No me oyes? Vale. Yo me pongo el... Bueno, voy a gritar, pero como no voy a hacer la presentación. ¿Cuántos habéis estado en el Mobile World Congress esta semana? 2 o 3. Please, you don't count. Bueno, básicamente lo que queremos hacer en esta primera media hora es daros un poco las noticias, lo que hemos mostrado, de qué hemos estado haciendo toda esta semana durante el evento. Como sabéis, durante ya muchos años, Adobe ha estado trabajando en llevar la tecnología Flash a los teléfonos móviles. No ha sido fácil llegar hasta donde estamos hoy en día porque teníamos un gran trabajo que hacer a la hora de llevar lo que es el plugin de Flash a estos dispositivos móviles. Y yo creo que estamos en el momento perfecto, no solamente desde el punto de vista de Adobe de tecnología, sino porque finalmente los dispositivos móviles en sí han llegado a un punto en el que podemos llevar cosas como el Flash Player, etcétera, etcétera, a este tipo de hardware. Y la verdad es que después de prácticamente 6 años, ver algo como la versión final, la versión definitiva de Flash Player 10.1 corriendo como en el Nexus One o en otros dispositivos, ha sido una de las cosas que más atención ha llevado a toda la gente que ha estado por el Mobile World Congress. Así que os vamos a enseñar bastantes demos, yo creo, especialmente durante el área de aplicaciones contextuales. Veremos cosas corriendo sobre Flash Player 10.1, sobre Air, también sobre dispositivos móviles. Creo que Richard tiene un tablet de Nvidia que también nos enseñará. Va a haber muchas cosas interesantes que podáis ver. Esperamos que durante este año ya veamos dispositivos en el mercado con las versiones definitivas. De hecho, habrá versiones lo comentará Mark, pero habrá versiones de Flash Player 10.1 para Android antes del verano. Así que ya los usuarios podrán empezar a ver contenido y a ver aplicaciones en estos teléfonos móviles, y poco a poco iremos lanzando más versiones para los demás sistemas operativos. Yo voy a estar todo el día por aquí, cualquier pregunta que tengáis. Mark, obviamente, su español es mínimo, o no habla español.
I don't count and you don't speak Spanish.
Exacto. Así que si tenéis alguna pregunta o queréis que vaya más despacio, sí, pues me lo decís y lo vamos viendo, ¿vale? Mark. You're on, man.
So how many people were here last year when we had this meeting? 2. Excellent.
We have a very loyal audience.
I know,
They
that
keep
must
coming
have
back.
been you. It must have been you. You think you must have destroyed it. So this was our theme for Mobile World Congress this year, one web and any device. And it really sums up everything that we've been working on over the past, maybe 2 or 3 years, which is really about just opening up an ecosystem so that people can developers can access consumers. And that's the net of what we're doing as a company. This year at the conference we actually showed some of the latest results of what it looks like to have a Flash platform that runs on modern smartphones. And I think that you've been reading blogs and seeing reading Engadget and stuff like that. I think Enrique asked how many people went to the Mobile World Congress, but I'm not sure. So I think I got the show of hands. So we had some news. We're just going to run through the news. I'll try and make it quick. The first one was with Omniture. Did anyone hear about our acquisition of Omniture? Does anyone know what Omniture is? Okay. So Omniture is an analytics company. They help basically people instrument their websites so that their websites can be adapted and improve their workflows. So for instance, if you look at something like eBay, it's really important to be able to have the user log in, buy a product, and get through the checkout as quickly as possible. And Omniture allows for those types of workflows. So obviously by investing in Omniture, these types of new products will come to Flash and of course Flex and other products as well, including with our announcement, which was on the iPhone. So this will allow people to build applications for the iPhone in Flash or outside Flash that really allow you to engage with your consumer more, particularly for those who are building enterprise apps. Photoshop.com, who has an iPhone? Yeah, he's got two. So, and who has Photoshop.com? No brand loyalty at all. Okay, so when we released Photoshop.com, we wrote it as native code. When we released the packager for iPhone as part of Flash Professional, those two schedules weren't aligned. So it's written in native code, and again for Android. It's a really, really nice application, and we update it regularly. But the net of the story was that it was a massively popular application just before Christmas, with 6 million downloads. So, Open Screen Project. Since only 2 of you were here last year, that means I should probably go over this again. Does anyone know what it is? Yeah, we're getting somewhere. So the Open Screen Project is basically our industry initiative that will help us drive to get the Flash platform on as many screens as possible. So creating a consistent platform of tools and runtimes that allow developers to connect with consumers without any barriers. That's our goal overall. And when we had Max in October last year, Max, we announced 50 partners in total at that time. And we've been working really hard. Auste, you can wave. Auste is the chief whip and does all of the contracts. So anyone wants to sign a contract, just do that outside. The idea really is to get all of these partners working together. We need all of these partners just as much as they need us. And it's a really great relationship. If you were to visit the Mobile World Congress and speak to any of these partners, you can really start to hear them talking in the same way that we have been doing for the last couple of years. And I think that more than last year, this year, it really starts making sense. In fact, we have partners from RIM and Motorola here today. If you want to put your hands up. So it's Ian and Karen at the back. And when we have the break, you'll have the opportunity to have a chat with them and find out about their developer programs. And I've asked them to come up and do a hello chat as well, so you'll get to hear more from them later. But the real important thing about this is now that we're at this 70 members, we've really got basically everyone that we need on the hardware side of things. On the content side of the house, we have a really large set of big content providers. And obviously, the goal of the project is, get the content onto this hardware. So what we're trying to do, and moving forward, is increase our reach with these content partners and start getting more of them involved in the Open Screen project. Of course, you can start to see the results of that already because we're showing lots of content demos that we've been building with our partners for Mobile World Congress. And I think Enrique and Aaron and Enrique and Aaron are going to show the demos later on, so you can get to see them. So one of the things that we thought was a highlight of the conference was...
What do you mean we thought? It is a highlight. It was a highlight.
Well, we thought it was. We thought it was a highlight of the conference was Eric Schmidt. He did a speech, basically a keynote. And representing Google, Auste is their favorite friend. She's the account manager for Google, so big applause to her for helping on that. Basically, we had a great keynote. They talked about Flash, so I thought I'd just run the video, and you can get a sense of how important an open ecosystem is to a company like Google.
¿Alguno ha visto el vídeo?
No.
No.
Thanks, Eric. I didn't know you were going to mention the Stanford bit. Like I'm in a lecture again all over, and I'm about to get cold called. I already have been cold called, haven't I? So, thank you all, and thank you, Eric. When we think about Android, we get really excited because Android really is about that merger of those three themes that Eric has been talking about. you're talking about computing, connectivity, and the cloud. And when you put that all together, you're really looking at what is nothing short of a
No. This is the part where.
Let's pause it again. It
It's
isn't.
quite funny, isn't it, that the network here is less reliable than it was in Mobile World Congress? That was one of the crazy things, is that on our booth we spent a lot of money on Wi-Fi coverage and it never worked once. It's absolute horror.
Should we get out of it if we're on it? Is
That will help.
I think I'm
That would
connected
help.
on both though, right? Wi-Fi and
Yeah, but I think it's the same.
No estoy
like when you
bajando
plug
nada,
this
pero-
in, does it switch?
That's alright. You gotta go to minute 29.
Okay.
Last Testament.
Yeah, it's over there.
Just a little. Note to self, save your videos to your records.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think it shows
What's it doing? Okay, we're gonna jump in here since it's working.
everyone here, get off Wi-Fi. That's right.
See how good I
Well,
am?
as this is buffering, the beauty of this is that you can actually page around and this video would actually be playing.
Come on.
That sucks. Alright,
Okay, so
I'll show you later. Yeah.
in this, yeah, he'll show you later.
We'll show
So
you
basically in the video, he demos an app, the network fails him, and then he tries another, and it works really well. But basically the pitch from Google is really centered around their openness as a company, and trying to make sure that they're enabling people that use the internet to have the same internet experience irrespective of the device that they're using. We joined two foundations. We actually joined the Symbian Foundation last year as members, and this year the Symbian Foundation became an OpenScreen project member in return. Symbian and Adobe have a long history that spans some 6 years in total, and back in the day I used to be a Symbian engineer, no longer. Limo is a software platform built on Linux for mobile phones. It's heavily supported by operators. I don't know if you have, is it the Vodafone 360? No? Yeah, so they created, that's their first device, the Vodafone 360. And essentially we're working now with them to bring Flash to that platform in the future. At the show, and we're going to see it later from Marcos and Raul, we showed Device Central. And just to give you a brief summary of what we showed is basically the ability to create and share device profiles. So you'll probably learn a bit more about what that means later. But essentially it's emulating each mobile phone and creating the ability for you to create profiles for new mobile phones that hit the market. So, you know, you could, in theory, create a profile for the Nexus One if we didn't. And if they change something in the browser, then you can change the profile and share it with other people. Of course, we added support for Flash Player 10.1. We added WebKit emulation for HTML, so that's better improvement over what we had for Opera. So if you're building websites with Dreamweaver or integrating Flash into your websites, then it's really, really good for doing those types of tests. In total, we have 750 plus device profiles. Of course, given that we've had a pre-release underway, people have been creating custom profiles, and so we have many, many more than that at the moment. And we've just recently added BlackBerry devices in there so that you can use that in conjunction with Illustrator and other tools for workflow. And I'm going to leave the really exciting stuff at the bottom out so that I don't steal anyone's thunder. We also unveiled Air for smartphones. This was, I don't know, it was a surprise for all of us, I think. You know, we obviously worked really hard to get things out, and one of the things that we saw a few weeks ago, in fact, was Air running on Android for the first time. And we're very, very impressed with it. And we're really lucky also to have the product manager who's in charge of this coming to talk to us later. And so obviously, you know, get your questions ready. It's a really, you know, good opportunity to find out.
¿Sabéis todos lo que es Air? Por cierto. ¿Sí?
Yeah, and just to be clear, if there's anything you don't understand, then just stop and we'll get Enrique to answer. If you. Okay, so our big news was Flash Player 10.1. We wanted to demonstrate that working really well on smartphones. On our booth, we had the Palm Pre, we had Android Nexus, and the Motorola Droid. So with those three great phones, we demoed different things. And we're really happy with the quality level that we have right now. We think that the attendees, like, we're really impressed. You know, you have lots of different gestures, and you'll see how later on how really Flash is starting to adapt to a different form factor. So the ability, an example, say you go to YouTube and you can tap on the video, and the video can play back in full screen. And this is basically being harnessed into the player itself. So Flash is obviously responsible for a lot of ubiquity, and, you know, to go back to the Google video, you know, you can see that Flash is, you know, used for, you know, many games on the web, you know, a lot of the video content on the web. And you can imagine that, you know, as a user, you do want to be able to access all of that rich content, and that's why we're doing this. You know, the ability to, so that users have the ability to go to any website and see the web as they, you know, as they intended to, and not get, you know, big missing holes in it and things like that.
Blue Legos.
Blue Legos, yeah. So we're on track for delivery and to consumers. So that means public beta and distribution of the player onto devices so that consumers can get their hands on it. It should be no mistake, of course, that the devices that we showed at the conference will probably be amongst the first. So if you're thinking about buying devices for development and getting used to new APIs and new form factors, then you can certainly think of buying those devices. We have added, you know, numerous platforms. You can see them all below. You know, Symbian is one that is being handled by Nokia, and that's also an update, is that Symbian are now committed, as are Nokia, committed to bring Flash Player to their devices within 2010. So in terms of getting access to the player itself, I should probably just give you a bit of info on that in case it isn't covered later, because I'm not sure. But basically, we intend to put our players on the marketplace for each given platform. We also intend to bundle it with the firmware, so the software that comes with your phone. So if you go to the shop, sometimes you'll have Flash Player on there, sometimes you'll have to download it. But we have worked really hard on update mechanisms so that the software will auto-update over time. so that new players and new fixes and things like that can come down over the air, just really like you'd expect it to work as it does on the desktop today. We also did something quite different this year, and that was to not just talk about phones, because phones are small screens, but there's lots of other screens out there. And one of the ones that we're really interested in are netbooks and tablet devices. So we've been working really hard with some of those partners below, particularly with NVIDIA and Qualcomm, really to accelerate Flash and Air on their devices, on their chipset. And we showed some of those examples during the show. We had lots of video traffic and stuff like that. People are really excited about those types of experiences. In fact, NVIDIA has told us that they're working with 50 OEMs to bring tablets to the market within a year, which is absolutely incredible. To think that we went from none to all of that in such a small amount of time. So the reason why we're working together is not just for fun, it's because those devices are going to run either mobile operating systems or extreme custom operating systems. So we need to work with the vendors of the chips inside these computers to make sure that Flash plays back well. Because one of the expectations, particularly from tablet devices, is that Flash plays video, and it plays it full screen, and it plays it in HD quality. And that's something that we really have to make work, or we get in trouble, basically. So that's hopefully, I'm sure it's not going to work, but I thought we should hear from NVIDIA.
Los que estáis conectados, si podéis desconectar mejor,
Ah, okay.
¿vale? Si no funciona, es echarle la culpa.
Pagden of Adobe Systems, and this week we're at Mobile World Congress 2010 in Barcelona, and today I'm with Neil Trevett. Neil, tell us what you do.
I'm the Vice President of Mobile Content at NVIDIA. So my team works hard to bring great content onto our Tegra family of mobile processors.
What do you think the challenges are facing the mobile industry these days?
The biggest challenge is fragmentation. Lots of different devices, lots of form factors, lots of different operating systems. It can become a nightmare for application developers to be able to port to enough systems to actually make money.
And what do you think of Flash Player 10.1 for mobile?
Flash Player 10.1 for mobile is awesome. It's enabling technology. Because Flash 10.1 is using the power of the GPU, it enables Flash for the first time, the full Flash player, to run on mobile devices. Because we're tapping into the power of the GPU, we can run on battery-powered CPUs with excellent levels of performance and power consumption.
And what do you think about seeing Air on devices?
It's the most exciting thing here at MWC. Having the power of accelerated Flash now tied into the Air platform, which liberates Flash from the browser. We can have standalone applications on the Android OS with the full visual richness of Flash. It's a perfect platform on tablets combined with Air for the new wave of digital publications. So it's going to change the face of the digital publishing industry.
Great. So what are we looking at here?
This is the new generation Tegra development system. So this is the core technology that's going to be built into about 30 to 50 tablets coming in the next few months to market. So this is running the Android operating system. So you have all of the functionality that Android normally provides, but we have the extra goodness of Adobe Flash and Air, hardware accelerated on the Tegra GPU to give you amazing performance and battery consumption.
And I understand you have several Air applications running now. Can you show us one?
Yes, we do. We have Air leveraging accelerated Flash 10.1 running on mobile for the first time. In Android. Wait, is that pretty exciting? So we have a number of these.
Okay. Well, so at the end of that video, he showed us all some games, and they were actually running Farmville. Sorry, this is awkward.
We will show them a video.
Yeah. So they were showing off Farmville and stuff running in full screen on the tablet, and it was absolutely incredible. So we're kind of changing it up, but the Mobile World Congress itself is becoming different. It's becoming about multiple screens, which is a bit odd because we've been saying that for a couple of years now. So it's really good to see it actually happening. And the good news is that Richard has stolen one of those things and put it in his bag, and he's going to show you it later on today. I might try and get it off him. That's not really stealing. Okay, so in terms of what are our expectations, I mean, we've been shipping Flash players on mobile phones for a number of years now, and we have like well over 1 billion of those. What we do have is this plan. This is what we think will happen by the time we get to 2012. So just to paint the picture here, this is the amount of smartphones that we expect to ship globally. So it's just going to be over 300 million. And working with all of the partners that we have, we expect to be able to get to this point. And the gap between here and here is our stage job. She's going to be closing that for us over time. No pressure.
Sorry, that information is about European market or?
That's it. This is a global market. Yeah, it'll be global market. If it was an EMEA market, then they would focus on something specific. The good news about the strategy analytics report was one report. If I remember correctly, Gartner have a similar report that said that by 2012, 50% of all phones in Europe, certainly the EU5 countries, so that's like Spain, Italy, France, UK, and Germany, those countries will have a 50% penetration rate. I think it will be higher. I think they were being conservative. So I think that we'll probably see more than that. Okay. So, if you have any questions, this is my other slide that I put in the end because I thought it was fun and loads of people got to see this on my blog. So, there was recently we actually decided to change our page for the Flash Player Download Center, and basically that page just got like an error message. There's no Flash Player for your phone. And so what we did is we changed it slightly for the iPhone to indicate that Apple's not working with us. Simple as that. And because what was happening was we were getting targeted by those users. Those users are saying, hey, why can't I get Flash? Adobe's rubbish. And so at the end of the day, that's what we've done. We put a new page up and we measured the amount of traffic we were getting, which is like well over 7 million people in December alone. So that's like a massive lot of people using iPhones that want Flash. And we expect that, with all of that momentum that we showed, with all of the other platforms that we are showing, that at some point Apple will hopefully change their mind. Alright, so, do you have any questions? You can ask them in Spanish and Enrique can translate if you want.
So, ¿alguna pregunta de cuáles son las nuevas capacidades de 10.1, qué es lo que estamos lanzando? ¿Es interesante? No sé, cualquier cosa que queráis preguntar.
La diferencia entre Air Mobile entre Air Mobile y Flash Player, básicamente para dispositivos, ¿en qué se basa la diferencia?
Bueno, es básicamente lo mismo que se basa la diferencia entre Air en el desktop y Flash. Con Air, obviamente, primero vas a poder trabajar offline, vas a poder acceder al local cache del dispositivo, vas a tener algunas APIs adicionales por el mero hecho de no estar corriendo bajo el navegador, por ejemplo, acceso al GPS del dispositivo móvil, por lo que te va a permitir llevar aplicaciones fuera del navegador. Pero la estrategia y la razón de Air es la misma que en el escritorio. Básicamente nuestra estrategia a nivel de plataforma para móviles o para cualquier pantalla es la misma. Todo lo que sea contenido que corre bajo el navegador es Flash Player, todo lo que sea una aplicación fuera del navegador va a ser sobre él. Por lo tanto, va a ser lo mismo, ya te digo, para cualquier dispositivo móvil, para PC, Mac, Linux, etc. O para, en el caso, por ejemplo, también estamos trabajando mucho con televisión, set-top boxes y demás. Un poco las tres pantallas fundamentales que nosotros vemos a nivel de lo que el usuario final va a demandar contenido en el ordenador, contenido en el móvil y contenido en la televisión. y lo que queremos es llevar tanto player de flash como Air a esas tres pantallas.
Entiendo que la aceleración de vídeo es solo para dispositivos con tarjetas NVIDIA.
Bueno, con los que estamos trabajando ahora es con NVIDIA y con Qualcomm.
¿Y a nivel de sistemas operativos es para un poco o será también?
Bueno, eso es un poco la combinación de dónde está NVIDIA o Qualcomm sobre qué dispositivo. Nosotros, desde el punto de vista de dispositivos, de sistemas operativos va a ser Android, va a ser Palm WebOS, va a ser Windows Mobile, va a ser Symbian, va a ser RIM, etcétera, etcétera. Y a partir de ahí, cada fabricante pondrá un chip o no. Si pone un chip de NVIDIA, de Qualcomm, porque nosotros hemos trabajado para optimizarlo, Qualcomm funcionará perfectamente. Si no, tendremos que hacer optimizaciones o trabajar con uno de esos partners que está dentro del OSP para trabajar con ellos para llevar la optimización de vídeo y de gráficos también a ese chip. En el caso de aceleración, sí que tenemos que trabajar directamente con el que crea el chip, porque es el que realmente nos tiene que dar los APIs de acceso a ese chip.
¿Y se tienen números de cuántos de estos dispositivos van a tener capacidad para esto?
Me imagino que...
Lo digo porque cuando preparas contenidos de vídeo, y muy bien, muy bonito decir que habrá aceleración HD, pero tienes que pensar en una base de gente que...
Sí, no, está claro. Lo que no tenemos es datos de... Obviamente NVIDIA le gustaría que tuviese el 99% de penetración del mercado de chips. Y lo mismo dirá Broadcom y Qualcomm y demás, y Intel, que también estamos trabajando con ellos. Lo que no sé es qué dispositivos va a tener NVIDIA, chips, etcétera, etcétera. Desde nuestro punto de vista, lo que queremos es trabajar con todos, porque si trabajamos con todos, no importa qué dispositivo tenga qué chip, tendremos solucionado el tema de aceleración de vídeo.
¿Qué formatos de vídeo va a aceptar el flash en los smartphones?
Los mismos
¿MP4 o TLV?
Sí, los mismos que en el PC.
Vale.
Básicamente estamos hablando de H264, ON2, Solid Spark, lo mismo que tienes hoy, ¿no?
Pero normalmente a nivel de chip del smartphone es inferior a un chip de ordenador normal, y la decodificación de estos formatos quizá cuesta más.
Sí, va a costar un poco más, depende también del tipo de contenido que estás mandando. Si estás mandando un vídeo alta definición a 1024, etcétera, etcétera, si ese procesador de ese móvil, pongamos que es un Nexus One, estamos hablando de un gigahercio creo que es de chip y 64 megas de RAM, tiene unos límites. ¿Más preguntas?
¿Tendremos conectividad completa con Flash Mediaset?
Tendremos conectividad completa sobre Flash
Si el
Mediaset.
API será completo, no podemos tener este problema. ¿Es el dispositivo móvil?
FMS connectivity, is that supported or maybe the only thing that's not supported is Twitter.
Which one?
Speaks, which is voice over IP. There's another one.
Completa menos un tema de reconocimiento de voz.
RTMP y RTMFP. RTMP y RTMFP.
Incluso ahora estamos sacando una nueva versión de FMS, que es Flash Player 10.1, también lo soportará, que es streaming bajo HTTP. HTTP es streaming. Por lo tanto, ya no tendrás que... O sea, tiene unas ventajas y unas desventajas, obviamente, comparado con una RTMP, pero también soportará, obviamente, HTTP. Sí.
Todo lo que soporte el Player 10.1 soportará ahí. O sea, tiene la misma entrada.
De hecho, Flash Player Air contiene Flash Player 10.1.
Sí, no, todo lo que soporte ahí, sí. Seguro que soportará 10.1.
No. O sea, básicamente, lo que hacemos es cogemos 10.1, lo empaquetamos dentro de Air y además damos más funcionalidades, más APIs. Por lo tanto, si vas de Flash Player 10 a Air, funciona, pero no puedes ir de Air, obviamente, a Flash Player 10.
Puede haber un dispositivo que soporte 10.1 y no soporte ahí. O sea, los mismos dispositivos funcionarán siempre ahí y 10.1.
La idea es esa, sí. Por ejemplo, lo que os vamos a enseñar hoy, estamos hablando de Air 2.0, que es la siguiente versión, sobre Motorola Droid. Luego, básicamente, en el futuro seguiremos trabajando, gracias a Austin, seguimos trabajando. Austin, your name keeps coming up and up. Es que básicamente la que ha hecho posible que estemos con Google, que estemos con toda esta gente, es esa persona de ahí. Y sin ella realmente no hubiésemos podido hacer todo el trabajo. Me parece que está ahí muy calladita, sin decir nada, pero es la estrella de la semana. ¿Más preguntas?
A la hora de hacer una aplicación, por ejemplo, con Flex, para Adobe Flash 10.1, ¿qué es mejor? ¿Pasarse ya a Flex 4 o Flex 3? Lo mismo con Air. ¿Desarrollar una aplicación con Air 1 o Air 2?
Para el tema de móviles, sí. Bueno, el tema
¿Está más optimizado?
Pues hay dos cosas diferentes. Una, el player de por sí, el 10.1, ya está optimizado. Hemos hecho básicamente, para llevarlo a estos dispositivos móviles, hemos tenido que reescribir mucho del código de Flash Player 10. Uno, por temas de rendimiento. Para hacer que el Player 10 corra realmente bien, como lo veréis después en algunas demos, sí, a refuncionar. Hemos tenido que hacer mucho trabajo de optimización, tanto de ejecución como de consumo de memoria. Porque, si os fijáis, el Nexus One tiene esos 74 megas de capacidad de RAM. Hay que gestionar muy bien el consumo de memoria de todas las aplicaciones que corren sobre el dispositivo para que no nos quedemos sin memoria. Eso significa, por ejemplo, hemos hecho estudios comparativas que hemos reducido un 40% el consumo de memoria en el player. Pero claro, esas optimizaciones se aplican tanto al móvil como a la nueva versión de 10.1 sobre PC. Por tanto, vais a ver que las aplicaciones en general, en cualquier dispositivo, PC, Mac, Linux, móviles, etc., van a correr mucho más rápidos que antes, simplemente por las optimizaciones que hemos hecho para llevar el player a móviles. Lo que sí que es cierto es que Flex es un framework que está escrito sobre ActionScript y que es un framework que ha sido pensado desde el principio, cuando se empezó a trabajar con él, para PC, no para un dispositivo móvil. No solamente desde el punto de vista del framework, sino también de los componentes visuales que damos en Flex. Por ejemplo, si trabajáis con Flex, hay una tabla, un data grid. Un data grid no tiene realmente sentido en un Nexus One. ¿Por qué? Porque las características de resolución de pantalla no, desde un punto de vista del usuario, no vas a poder trabajar muy bien con una tabla. Entonces hay que empezar a pensar diferentes controles de usuario para móviles. Lo que estamos trabajando es una nueva versión de Flex del futuro, no una nueva versión diferente, sino una versión aparte que se enfoque más a desarrollos para móviles, que es lo que se denomina Flex Mobile, que es un proyecto que está ahora mismo en Alpha Labs, que básicamente llegaremos al futuro y sacaremos una versión optimizada para desarrollo para móviles. Lo que sí que también es verdad es que puedes hoy en día, yo he hecho algunas pruebas con Nexus One y con FlashPay 10.1, ejecutar y visualizar aplicaciones Flex sobre los dispositivos móviles. Creo que vamos a ver problemas muy al principio de las aplicaciones Flex que tengáis ahora desarrolladas, tanto ya sea Flex 3 como Flex 4, en consumo de memoria, porque tienden a utilizar bastantes recursos de memoria. Una aplicación Flex, por defecto, nada que empecéis a trabajar con ella, empieza a trabajar con unos 24, 26, 30 megas de consumo de memoria, sobre todo. Entonces, claro, en esos 64 megas de memoria te quedas básicamente sin espacio. Yo ahora mismo comenzaría a trabajar con ActionScript. Si lo que queréis es empezar a desarrollar aplicaciones sobre 10.1, Flex, el framework de Flex todavía es un poco pesado. Empezaría a trabajar directamente con ActionScript 3.0, que es lo mismo. Vamos a ver, Flex es simplemente un framework abstraído encima de ActionScript 3. Que sea Flex 3 o Flex 4, realmente no importa. El problema es ese consumo de memoria sobre el dispositivo. Sí.
A propósito de ActionScript 2 o 3, recibo hoy por la mañana la pregunta a través de email: ¿cuándo podemos escuchar algo de Flashlight 4? ¿Existe?
Flashlight 4. Question. Does it exist? What are we doing with Flashlight?
Yeah.
Shall I tell them? Is that the feature phone?
Yes, it exists.
La pregunta es, ¿cuántos trabajáis con Flashlight 3? 3.1. Como os ha dicho antes Mark, básicamente a día de hoy hay unos 1.100, 1.200 millones de dispositivos con una versión de Flashlight. 3, 2, 3.1. Hemos trabajado y vamos a lanzar otra nueva versión de Flashlight, que es Flashlight 4. Pasa que Flashlight 4, así como Flashlight 3.1, se orientaba básicamente a ActionScript 2, Flash 8, más o menos. La nueva versión de Flashlight 4, tendrá mucho más soporte de ActionScript 3.0 y se acerca mucho más a lo que es un Flash Player 9, Flash Player 10. Pero sigue siendo una versión pequeña de lo que es el 10.1 que estamos anunciando aquí. Y es una versión que estamos lanzando van a seguir soportando dispositivos, pero dispositivos de un tamaño bastante menor, lo que llamamos feature phones, lower phones. Tenemos smartphones, feature phones, lower phones. ¿Por qué? Porque las características de esos dispositivos móviles no son los de 1 GHz de procesador, no son los de 64 GB de RAM. ¿Qué sucede? Si os fijáis en el último gráfico que enseñaba Mark, esperamos que en 250 millones de smartphones de aquí al 2012 tendremos 10.1, ¿vale? Pero claro, lo que ahora es un smartphone será un feature phone en 2 años, las características. Entonces vamos a ver que poco a poco vamos a ver muchos más despliegues de Flash Player 10.1 que de Flash Lite, porque las características del teléfono móvil va a permitir ya ese 10.1 de una forma mucho más nativa que trabajando con Flash Lite 4. Vamos a seguir soportándolo, pero a medida que los dispositivos vayan creciendo en capacidades de rendimiento, veremos mucho más despliegues de 10.1 que de Flash Lite 4. ¿Okay?
Una pregunta.
Bueno.
¿Cómo se distribuye el 10.1?
Buena pregunta. ¿Cómo vamos a distribuir tanto 10.1 Flash como Air? Básicamente va a haber dos formas y todavía no tenemos definido, porque básicamente es una opción de tanto el fabricante como el que crea el sistema operativo, de cómo distribuir el player. Y la idea es seguir un sistema muy parecido al que tenemos hoy en día en la web, que es o bien cogemos Flash Player 10.1 o Air y lo metemos con el sistema operativo cuando el fabricante os da el teléfono móvil, o bien el fabricante lo que hace es daros una actualización del sistema operativo. Por ejemplo, cuando vayamos de la versión 2.1, que es ahora de Android, a la siguiente versión de Android, probablemente Google y todos los fabricantes hagan un OS upgrade, ¿no? Pues en ese OS upgrade tendremos la versión de Flash Player. Otra opción será que cuando tú navegues a una página que necesite Flash y no tengas el player de Flash instalado, porque no lo has tenido vía la actualización, te redirijamos al Marketplace. En el Marketplace descargas el player de Flash gratis y ya está. ¿Vale? Que es básicamente lo que hacemos hoy en día en la web. Y lo mismo sucederá con él. Si tú, por ejemplo, intentas ejecutar o descargarte en el caso de Android, por ejemplo, un punto ATK, que realmente es un Air producido con él, y no tienes Air instalado sobre tu dispositivo móvil, te redirigiremos a el sistema de distribución es un sistema de distribución over-the-air, ¿vale? OTA, para instalación y distribución del over-the-air installs.
So, Air Mobile supports AS2?
Air Mobile supports AS2. Yeah.
They are literally the desktop players made for mobile. Basically everything.
Because the problem that flashlight developers have now is I have a portfolio of hundreds of apps. I don't want to, recode.
Yeah.
I would like just to repackage.
See, that's the good thing about Flash Player 10.1 and Air 2.0 is that because one of the main important aspects of those two is that we're always going backward compatibility. Okay? We always support Flash Player 1, Flash Player 2, Flash Player 3, etc. So with F2 and Flash Player 10.1, we will be supporting for sure ActionScript to content applications.
Yeah, but just to be clear, those players aren't bug compatible. So any bug that you were working around in Flashlight will not function just as it did before.
Can you repeat that?
Sorry.
Not the Flashlight. He's asking about the F2.
Yeah, so he's asking, can his Flashlight content run in Air if you repackaged it? And the answer is, in theory, yes, but remember that they were two different code bases.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you'll need to test it and make sure it works. So, I mean, I can think of two examples. Like, we had things like FS commands that allowed you to get the signal level. Like, they don't exist anymore because they're not relevant. In the case of, I think of another example, text entry. So whenever you click on a text input box in Flashlight, you had to wait for an enter event from the keypad before you got to enter text. On 10.1 and Air, it works differently. That happens automatically. So you just need to test it. And I imagine that everything should work. During the planning of the product, like I made sure that if the 10.1 player sees an FS command, that it will just ignore it. It won't just die or anything like that. It will just ignore it. So it means like your battery indicators or your signal level stuff, if you've done any of that, they just won't work. That's the goal. And if it doesn't work like that, then it's broken.
Yeah, please.
I would just add to that, we're designing and developing for all new devices with 10.1 too. So you have an old, 176 by 220 app in Flashlight, but you're trying to get it on an Android device. Just a different interaction model, so you're going to have to work to a certain extent anyway.
My goal is to do less work as possible.
I know.
So, and I'll do this in Spanish. Obviamente, cuando pensamos en desarrollar aplicaciones, todo el mundo quiere escribirlo una vez y desplegarlo en todos los sitios. Eso realmente, desde un punto de vista de interfaz de usuario, no es posible. No es posible porque una pantalla de 37 pulgadas no es un móvil como el Nexus. La interacción que el usuario final va a tener con esa aplicación tiene que ser diferente, debe ser diferente. Lo que sí que es cierto que lo que queremos es reutilizar todo el código posible y que trabajes lo menos posible. Pero yo creo que el hecho de tener que adaptar contenidos, aplicaciones, etcétera, etcétera, a diferentes resoluciones de pantalla es que así es la vida, básicamente. Es lo que estamos haciendo en las aplicaciones que hay que desarrollar. Y vamos a tener que trabajar con diferentes resoluciones y una aplicación que tenemos que cambiar algunos interfaces de usuario porque estás en un teléfono móvil, pero en otro interfaz de usuario más avanzado sobre un tablet será diferente, y en el PC será diferente, y en el Tavision será diferente. Entonces, la idea claramente es utilizar lo más posible, pero yo creo que desde un punto de vista de ese 20% de código adicional que es responsable de visualizar o de mostrar contenido o aplicaciones, habrá que modificarlo siempre. Que pueda ser más fácil o no con Flash o con otras tecnologías, es otra historia, pero hay que adaptar los contenidos seguro. Sí. ¿Más preguntas? ¿No? Sí, una. Yeah.
I'm going to do it in English.
That's fine.
I saw lots of demos of games running on tablets, but I'm wondering, besides games, what type of tablet applications do you think will be popular or will be?
It's quite annoying because the video failed by the time we got to that other really interesting use case. I don't know if, I seem to remember we're not allowed to show the...
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. So okay, so basically tablets are going to be used for a couple of different use cases. One is going to be books, so any published print, magazines, all of those types of things. The expectation is that they'll move digital at some point, and you will find those magazines in various forms. And our feel is that since print is all done in Adobe Tools, then with a bit of magic in Flash or in any other tool, and we expect that people start to build their magazines so they can be interacted with in completely new ways, and also have media embedded, which is like a bit back to the future, but the idea of like going through a magazine and having like a video playing to tell you about what happened at last week's basketball match or something like that. Those videos and all we expect that they'll all be embedded. And then the other use case, of course, is for video applications. What about movie rentals and all of those types of things? It's like Android is expected to be the leading operating system across those devices. So it's also a very open operating system where you can basically do what you want. So I expect to see all sorts of really, really interesting, particularly print magazines. I can't wait to see those.
I think tablets in general are one step above book readers, e-book readers.
Yeah.
Because when you want to read a book is very static, and the people that read books, they don't really want to have a lot of multimedia interactivity happening. They just want to read the book. They just want to have a device that is easier for them to carry around 120 books, so they don't have to carry those 120 books. But that's the beauty of something like the books. But tablets are more for rich media publishers to get their content from the media, newspaper or magazine up to a device that allows them to get the user a better, richer experience. So for instance, if you are a car manufacturer, BMW or whatever, maybe you want to give out your catalog of cars via a tablet using a richer experience, and when you flip through the pages and you see a car, you can just touch the car, move it around, 3D, play a video, interact with it, change the color, configure your car, and send it over to BMW so you can buy it. So that sort of experience is what we see coming to tablets as a richer way to interact with content.
And like all of these situations, you know, our job is to build the tools. You're the ones with the imagination, you know, and that market, like, you know, there's tablets that are coming to market, and also largely with smartphones as well. That whole industry is ready for, you know, another revolution again. You know, it's just about different screens and what you're going to do contextually while you're using them.
And if you think about the tablet itself, it's something that is around 10 inches, 8, 9, 10 inches. It's a great device for hanging around at home, carrying with you your purse or your bag. And so I think the web experience is key as well, because you don't want to just close that device to a single usage. So web is definitely one, and then everything that it comes along the web, which is video, content, applications, business apps. We talk about the tablets a lot as around a consumer device, but I think if you are with a tablet on a manufacturing plant, and you have your ERP system coming into your tablet via Wi-Fi, you can control real time how shipments are made and whatnot. That's a great device, because you need that 10-inch form factor real estate on your screen, but you want to use it not for reading books, but for actually controlling your whole manufacturing plant. So I mean, we have to think about those scenarios as well. Yeah, it's for me, a tablet is just a touch-based netbook smartphone. I don't know what the whole deal is. It's just a different name, but it's a device that has hardware.
Bigger screen?
Yeah, bigger screen, bigger real estate, and you can just use your finger to it. That's it. See?
Also English.
That's all right.
So just before you said voice recognition is not supported.
Yeah.
I have seen an application, or Flash application, that did voice recognition, but it was for desktop.
Sure.
Do you mean it's not supported?
On the mobile device, yeah. So the two sort of disappointing, shall we say, results of the mobile work that we've been doing is that microphone and camera access just simply aren't achievable in a consistent way. Not at this time, anyway.
In a consistent way, but you mean per device you
Yeah,
could?
so every platform is slightly different, the hardwares are slightly different, so it's hard for us to find a way to integrate and find a way to expose an API that's appropriate for Flash developers to use. But you can guarantee we're thinking about it very hard and how we might get that to work.
But even if it's not consistent, you could still, I mean, if you work for a specific device, you could.
Absolutely. So one of the interesting things that comes as part of AIR is essentially you can think of it like an extension kit, and that goes to our OEM partners. So you can imagine, like say Nokia want to create a camera feature as part of their AIR runtime. Well, even if we don't support that, they can create like a component that allows you to get access to that by having a bit of native code and gluing it all together in ActionScript, so that you can access those features. And then when you go to use the API, it will be under com.nokia.something. So that's how the namespaces will be split. And that it gives them an opportunity to differentiate just slightly. Obviously, we're going to be signing off on each and every one of them because it has the potential to fragment. But there's definitely use cases where, particularly, I know that RIM and on the BlackBerry devices have a lot of services that could be really, really valuable to someone who's targeting an enterprise, and that there's definitely an opportunity there. There might be even a business in creating extensions. Who knows?
I mean, ideally, we would love to have a common API on the operating system level to actually access everything in the same way, especially on the mic and camera, but that's not the case today.
Sure.
Yeah.
With all this new stuff, are we going to merge web developers, desktop developers, web developers, and mobile developers?
I think it's really interesting. We were talking about it, in fact, last week at our team meeting, and so like someone has said to me, we can talk about this when we have our break, that they're saying, well, Flash Lite developers are not able to do AS3, and I was like, that's kind of rude. I know, but so I always thought of Flash Lite developers as mobile developers, and it's a discussion that we've had before actually. Thinking about what's the bit that actually gets you out of bed in the morning, what interests you in life, and that's what I see. I see that I love the mobile industry. I've worked in it since forever. Can I create desktop apps? Absolutely. Could a desktop developer create something for a phone? Absolutely. But they'd have to be interested in doing it. So some of the websites that we saw, we showed optimized websites. And we know that business is growing because there's so many of them now, and people are coming to us looking for extensions to our tools to help them build those optimized mobile websites. So sites that look just as good on a Nexus as they do on a Symbian phone, etc., etc. So I think it's a natural evolution. I think that our job is to help build the tools out, and we need your help and assistance in telling us what we need to do. Because it's a very, very big world and there's a lot of devices in it.
And I think there is actually an advantage on the mobile developer side, of mobile designers.
Yes,
because they have, in the past, or even today, you guys struggle to think about ways to bring applications to multiple devices, multiple screens, etc., and different interactions. And for instance, when bringing apps to the tablet, that kind of thinking is needed, because now you're dealing with a touch-based device and it has different gestures and so forth, which traditional web developers or desktop developers have never had to actually think about. So you have an advantage in that sense, especially on the user interface side. So I think
and optimizations as well. That's like one of the key things.
The sixth sense.
Yeah. When we were shipping the Flash Packager for the iPhone and getting those apps into the App Store, one of the things that we did was we had to go after mobile developers, because the desktop Flash developers, they are obviously on a scale of really smart, really smart, really smart, and then obviously it goes down just like in any industry. Well, it's not, no, I'm kind of on there, but it was true, right?
Waste resources.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so we went after mobile developers to basically ensure that they could get something shipped in a very short period of time. So it just goes to show that there are benefits to having invested in that earlier. But everyone will be fine. Seeing the things that we've put on the Nexus, and they're just screaming along. In fact, there was one page, I don't know, I think it's Allocine, where there's 2 videos, and I was playing 2 videos at once, and it's kicking out audio from both, and it's like, I was shocked, And you'll get to see some of the demos later on.
And many of you will be shocked to see apps that you built on the web running just fine on the device. I was with Raul and Marcos talking in the back. And that's one of the demos that I'll do later on is they came by the booth and I show them their stuff running on the device, and they couldn't even do it. I couldn't do it.
That's what most of the customers wanted to see. They wanted to see their site on the device, and it's actually quite risky for us, because we obviously had a doctored set of heavily tested ones, and then of course we just let people, go for it.
Our time is up.
Okay. It's like being in a talk show, isn't it? Like someone. Hi, Oprah.
Well, we can have a break. We'll be around, so you guys can ask any questions. Feel free.
Yeah, and
Alright,
Ian and Karen, can you put your hands up again so that people know who you are?
So can you guys actually just give you 5-second intro of who you are, what you do?
5 seconds.
10.
Yeah. No, just say your name and where you're from. Simple.
Ian McDonald. I manage our global developer programs and services. That's a fancy way of saying that my job is about making it easy for developers to create applications on BlackBerry and be commercially successful with them. So that's it in a nutshell. And maybe by a few minutes at the end of the break, I'll give a brief overview of who we are.
Great. Great, thank you.
Excellent, thanks.
And Karen?
Hi, I'm Karan Keda from Motorola. We
Chris.
Talk more about it in the break and going forward.
We make sure that these guys don't come to Spain very often, I think, right?
My first time.
There you go. So it's like a great opportunity for any of you that is interested, for instance, in mobile development in those platforms, just hammer them, right?
Yeah, definitely. Make sure you have discussions and have your asks. Like if you have questions and needs and wants, then this is the time to do it. That's why these guys are here. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Coffee.
Coffee.